Hi there, it's Richard Knowles here from Element Finance. We are looking at the 6 pillars of property development. If you've already caught up with video number 1, it's sort of set the scene of why we're doing this and who it's aimed at. So I guess if you're watching this, it's of interest to you, which is great. So welcome. So we're going to run through in a series of 6 videos the 6 pillars of property development. I'm going to start today with pillar number 1, which is all about identifying the opportunity in the first place. So we'll cover 3 things really: what to look for, where to look for it, and planning versus no planning. They're just the three topics, 3 areas that we're going to look at today. Hopefully we'll give you a sense of where you can go to look for it. So what are we looking for? That is the million-dollar question. What are we all looking for in terms of the development site? Then before we get into what we're looking for, I would just like to say, if you are new to development and if you are, not 100% sure where you're at in your sort of property journey, whether you might have done a few light refurbs, you might own a few properties, you might be a landlord, you may well have come from construction. So you're well versed in the construction of properties for other people, and you've just suddenly decided that you want to do this for yourself. That's great. Welcome. This is aimed at giving you some guidance and some hints and tips. Going out and procuring land to do a 30, 40, 50 unit scheme, I'm not saying that's impossible as your first development. I would like to encourage you, shall we say, to go for something a little bit smaller, a little bit less ambitious, and just build your way up to it really. So that's the only thing I would kind of say on that. I think we'll get into lending on pillar 4. That's obviously our area of expertise. And when we do get there, you'll see why it's important that you see progression. It's all about risk versus reward. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Let's get back to how we spot an opportunity. So what we're looking for: you can buy a house that sits in a rather large plot, and then look to gain planning consent to build 1, 2, 3, 4, or however many units you can get in what essentially is the land that goes with the plot. That's quite a popular thing to do. You can buy land with planning. That's again perfectly feasible thing to do, although you'll see when we get into pillar number 2 around appraising the deal, as long as the figures stack up and that makes sense. Nothing wrong with buying land already with planning. Makes life a little bit easier. We'll get onto that at the end though. You can buy land without planning. You can buy a paddock. You can buy an old barn. You can buy somebody's garden. You can buy a garage. You can buy a series of garages. So really anywhere where there is an opportunity to add some value through the development of a property, the building of another property, that's what we're looking for. It can even be a commercial space. If you find a commercial space that's suddenly found itself, residential areas sort of grown up around it, that could be prime for development. So they're really good ones. There is also things like land assembly. That's where you approach a community and maybe buy, a section of 4 or 5 people's gardens, that kind of thing. Notoriously difficult because you've got so many moving parts and you're trying to deal with 5 or 6 different vendors. It could be really complicated. It's not something I'd recommend for a first-time developer, but it's another option. So where are we going to look for this? There's lots of resources out there. There's lots of places that you can look. You can look online. There's Rightmove, Zoopla, all those kind of places. More than that are actually available. So you can look there. You can talk to estate agents, both residential agents. You can talk to specialist commercial agents. Build relationships up with land agents. There's plenty of land agents out there. That's what they specialise in. And building a relationship with those people is really, really key, because as opportunities come in, they've got a pool of people that they will go to. If you get yourself on that pool of people, then that could bring some great opportunities in. There's lots of mapping services out there. So, Land Insight, Nimbus to name 2. You have to pay for those services, but you can go and search for things yourself. That's a great way to do it. Property networks. Get out there, meet some people. Plenty of property networks. I'm not going to mention them here because there's far too many. I won't want to upset anybody, but there's lots of quality meetings up and down the country where you can go. Non-property networking, just go and meet people. You never know who owns what and who's got might have a slice of land or a plot somewhere, or abnormally big garden that they might want to monetize somehow and sell. So just get out there and talk to people, family and friends. Tell them what you do. Tell them what you want to do. It's amazing who and what you'll find within your own network. So that's always a great resource. Facebook, you know, the internet, you can run some Facebook adverts saying that you're looking for land. Just tap into your own connections if you're on Facebook, or friends are on Facebook. You know, the more people you tell what you're doing, what you're looking for, the more things it will bring to you. One thing's for sure: if you don't ever tell anybody what you're going to do, they're not mind readers. Someone's not going to suddenly knock on your door and go, "Hey, I've got a great opportunity for you," because I'm pretty sure you were thinking of getting into property development. So the more conversations that you have, the more opportunities that will bring to you. So there, what to look for and where to look. So then really, is it planning? Do you want to buy a plot with planning, or don't you want to buy a plot without planning? Now, there's pros and cons to both. As a first-time developer, if you can buy something that's already got planning consent on it, it's obviously going to be a little bit easier, because you don't have to go through the whole planning process. You might have to pay more money. Well, not might have to. You will have to pay more money for it, because someone's already gone through the time, effort and trouble of engaging with some professionals to draw up plans, to go through the whole planning process. Buying it without planning, again, gives you an opportunity to add some value to it by going through the planning process. One thing I would say, if you're going to buy it without planning, obviously we're going to get into this in Pillar 2 and Pillar 3, which is appraising a site and then the whole planning process. So, you know, once you've gone through that, we'll get into some more detail around the pitfalls. You can add an awful lot of value, but it can also cost you quite a lot of money and cost you quite a lot of time. It perhaps isn't quite as horrific as people make out. You know, it can be quite time consuming, and it varies massively area to area. So, you know, can't be too generic and say that it's great here and it's not so great there. I think, you know, there are local authorities that are under resourced all over the country, so things just take longer than anticipated. So, hope that's been useful. That's pillar number 1. We've got 5 more pillars to go. So, hopefully see you on the next video. That's Richard Knowles from Element Finance. Thank you.